What's up, everyone? Happy Valentine's Day. We are back with another entry into the MCU. We're talking about Captain America Brave New World. So is this a win for Marvel or is this a misfire? Stick around to hear my thoughts. Hey everyone, my name's Luke and I'm excited to be talking about Brave New World. If you know me and you follow my content or any of the links below, I'm a big fan of Marvel, comics, DC, clearly you see all the Batman behind me. Love this genre, love all these stories, so definitely excited to get back into the MCU. I'll have a lot more thoughts on this in a podcast that I co-host called The Agents of MACE, so be sure to subscribe to that. Links are in the comments, so let's get into this one. So Brave New World, this takes place after Falcon and the Winter Soldier and follows quite a bit of movies, and we'll get into that. But this follows Sam Wilson, who is the new Captain America. We also have Ross, now played by Harrison Ford, who has just become the President of the United States. He has sent Sam Wilson out on a mission to collect a canister containing some material that some people are trying to steal. We don't know who's in charge of that, but Sam's able to retrieve it and then goes down this political thriller style movie to try to figure out what's really going on, who's wanting this, what is Ross's ambition as president. And there's quite a few things that we get into. We do have some returning characters as well. Of course, we have Anthony Mackie playing Sam Wilson. Harrison Ford is now playing Thaddeus Ross. We have Danny Ramirez coming back as Torres, who is the new Falcon. And also we'll get into that because I thought Anthony and Danny's chemistry in this were really solid. They have a great relationship and I'm excited to see more of them. That was one thing I really enjoyed with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And then we also have Giancarlo Esposito coming in as Sidewinder, and Carl Lumbly is back as Isaiah Bradley. So let's get into Isaiah Bradley real quick. This is an important character in this story, but is one that's very unique because for those that have not watched the Disney Plus series, they're probably going to go into this not having much connection with Bradley or with Torres. Torres is a new character as well, and we get a lot of screen time with these in the Disney Plus series. So this movie is definitely set up in a way with some exposition to try to bring people up to speed with who these characters are, unless you're just a comic book junkie knowing that Isaiah is a soldier that took the serum and is basically the original Captain America. And there's a lot of nods to that within this. But we get a lot of chemistry between Sam Wilson and Ross, as well as Sam Wilson and Torres. A lot of screen time with them because you have Torres, who's basically this soldier slash computer nerd who is trying to become the new Falcon, really wants to be a hero, looking up to Sam Wilson and trying to figure out how to fit in or how he can get more time in the suit and basically just kind of excel at being a superhero. So really fun there, some really cool moments. But Ford is definitely a standout as Ross because he is now president. We're trying to figure out what is his objective through this movie. A big part of this movie is he's trying to work on a treaty with Japan, and a lot of this revolves around the celestial that is within the Indian Ocean. So another movie you need to follow through is Eternals. That has a big play into this because at the end of Eternals, when the celestial being is trying to come break apart Earth and then they stop it, half of its body is sticking out of the Indian Ocean. So we've been waiting for years and years and years to know where is this going to go, and we finally have answers. So we dive into that realm of this version of Earth that we're on in terms of all of these nations are trying to set up shop there to get the resources from this, and we have something new that this is bringing into play, which is adamantium, and that is Ross's main point. He has discovered adamantium through the celestial being. Everyone wants it. He wants control over it. And that's part of this treaty with Japan. So if you're familiar with X-Men, the Wolverine storyline, you'll know that this is going to play a big part into that. Specifically, like if you think of Hugh Jackman's The Wolverine when he goes to Japan, that story is part of this. So I'm very fascinated to see what they're going to do with this. Are they going to recreate the Wolverine or this story, or is this really just a nod to show you how big of this world is and what it's leading to, which will be more within mutants and the X-Men down the line. Now, we have some other characters as well, such as Sidewinder, and we have Ruth, which are more of like this grounded level position, like sub storylines within this. Ruth being on the President's Secret Service line, but we find out that she's a former widow. Sidewinder, I think, is just more of a nods to the comics. He is just one of those ground level villains, basically this mercenary that's trying to go in. He's more than that. I think he's a character that really wants to. He's just very evil. He wants to see the downfall of Captain America, or be known as the one that's killed Captain America. And he's trying to figure out the game as well. Curious to see how much more we'll see of this character down the line, because Sidewinder is not our main villain in this. We have a main villain, which is Stearns, also known as the Leader. The Leader is tied in with Ross, specifically from The Incredible Hulk, which is another important movie to see before you go watch this. I would almost view this movie as being a sequel to The Incredible Hulk more than a fourth Captain America movie. You get so much more tie-ins to The Incredible Hulk, the events that happen there that lead into this, to what Stearns has gone through the Gamma, and what he has been doing to Ross, and what their relationship is, and what he was promised. So this is a political movie, this is a revenge movie, as well as just a general superhero movie following Sam Wilson as he's trying to figure out how he can become a leader and what he needs to be doing. Because Ross does approach him to say, hey, I want you to rebuild the Avengers, and he's not really sure if he should be doing that or not, or what Ross's motives are for wanting to form the Avengers. And I think as we move forward later this year, especially into Thunderbolts, we'll get more of these answers. But that's what Brave New World is really about. It's about Sam trying to figure out his role as a leader, to really support the upcoming Falcon, to try to build this relationship with Ross and the government, and know like how the superheroes will tie in with that, and how are they going to agree and disagree or handle those things, as well as trying to figure out like what is this adamantium and what's going on there, and where things are really going to go. And to kind of go more into that, we do get one post-credit scene within this movie, which is with Wilson and the Leader, where he's basically saying like, hey, I've ran the statistics, I've seen where things are going, and just realized that we're not the only ones out there. There are other worlds that have other heroes, and there's a highly statistical chance that we're eventually going to have to see them and face them. Especially if you look into the past Avengers movies of, aliens coming to Earth. We know that there are other beings out there, and the Leader's essentially saying like, hey, there are so many more out there that we're going to have to deal with, so you better get ready. So more of a setup to Avengers Secret Wars, which is really cool, but that is Captain America Brave New World. All in all, I actually really enjoyed this. Going into some of the downfalls, the CG, the green screens were really rough. There are some moments that are very, very difficult to sit through because it just looks that bad. When it comes to Red Hulk, I wish we got more screen time with Red Hulk. What you see in the trailers is essentially what you get in this movie. Of course, it's a little bit extended with more action fight sequences, and it's really fun to watch. I think it was great to see on the big screen, but I wanted a little bit more from that. The writing could have been a little bit tighter, especially if you look at this as more of this political thriller style movie. I love the look and feel of it, and I like the political elements of it, but if you compare it to like The Winter Soldier or any other political movie out there, yeah, the writing could have been a bit tighter, but I think for what this brought, it's what I was wanting from this. With my expectations, it delivered on it. I really appreciate Mackie and Ford's chemistry and their performances. I think they delivered. and there's so many fun moments in this. The other interesting thing is that this Marvel movie did not have the intro that you get in all the other Marvel movies, and I think that's purposeful. I think that goes into the fact that we don't really know who the Avengers are, or at least where they are, even that. But are any of them coming back to be Avengers? And we don't know like what the core team is right now. So like not having that, I think, is just a sign that shows like we're kind of starting new, but we're going to build up to that as we go forward. So I'm very curious to see like what we're going to get with Thunderbolts, or even with Fantastic Four, the other 2 movies coming out this year. So I can't wait to check those out. Captain America Brave New World, I think it's a bold entry back into Phase 5 of the MCU. I think it's better than much more of the recent MCU movies we've gotten. I loved the chemistry between these characters. I like the political element of it. Just the look and feel, the grounded nature, the action sequences are fun. And yes, this does have some poor writing. This does have some bad CG and green screen effects, but it's one I really enjoyed, and I can't wait to watch it again. If you saw Brave New World, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. Again, be sure to subscribe to the Agents of MACE podcast. We'll be talking all things about this movie, lots of spoilers. We'll get into everything, so be sure to subscribe and wait for that coming out in a few weeks. Be sure to like and subscribe. That helps this channel out so much. Thanks again, and I'll be back next week with more reviews. We'll see you then.